Salaki Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom, Brother Nakwam, Watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another Monday Night Fire, giving, of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashima Mashiach, Wamalak Yahweh Shai, double honors to the elect elders of the house of David, who's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting and laboring for the second coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai. A hearty, mighty shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there on the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent, and they're abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Akwath out there, the sincere sisters out there, zealous and diligent and on fire, moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom to the ancient men. Shalom to the children. Shalom to the elect of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And shalom to everybody tuning in live through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashmi Abashai. Shalom Williams, Eliania, Don Israel Tamid, Yvette McKellar, Hoshaya, Hopeful Elect, Benjamin Youngwolf, Akamamba Yasha'Allah, Shalom, Yazian David Yehuda Israel, and again, everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. How to survive America's collapse, right? How to survive America's collapse. The title is not how to survive if America collapses, or how to survive would America collapse, or how to survive should America collapse. The title is plain: how to survive America's collapse, right? And you're watching the stages of Babylon the Great fall. You're watching them fall. You're watching Yahweh Bashmi Shai break this system down, right? You're watching Yahweh Bashmi Shai break this system down, man. You're watching the United States global reserve currency being the dollar being pushed back, and people are beginning to accept China and accept other currencies. America's threats don't hold as much weight. America's power is not what it used to be. Their influence in the world is being diminished. They have fallen behind in technological advances when it comes to competing with other nations like Russia, China, and other so-called enemies, man. Right? Their school system has collapsed. Their infrastructure is falling apart. Nobody wants to be in bed with the society anymore. There are floods. Roads are beat down. Wildfires. Prices are high. All hell is breaking loose, man, in Babylon the Great. And before I get this in Job, I want to get this in Amos, the 3rd chapter. Right? This Amos chapter 3 and verse 6. I'll start at 7, straight to the point. Really, I'll read 6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord hath not done it? So who's doing the evil in America? Who's causing them to be able to make decisions that bring about war, that bring about destruction? Who's bringing violence in Babylon the Great? Who's bringing violence in the earth, man? Who's bringing the society down? The Most High. Any evil, small or great, homicide, suicide, mass killings, all these things are done by the Most High. Bombs dropping, any event that brings forth death, small or great, is done by the Most High. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth the secrets unto his servants, the prophets. So before every kingdom goes down, the Most High reveals through dreams or through angels or through intercessors how the prophets are going to break that thing down, man. Right? When the Assyrian Empire fell, you had prophets out there, right? Elijah was sent out there. Elisha was sent out there prior. You had Hosea sent out there before the northern kingdom fell. Prior to the Babylonian kingdom, you had prophets like Jeremiah, Ezekiel, right? Zephaniah, Habakkuk. You had prophets that were sent out there, man. Before the ancient Babylonian kingdom fell, the Lord sent Daniel, right? For all these kingdoms fall, the Most High sends forth their servants, the prophets, right? In the Persian Empire, you had Mordecai, who had dreams written in the Apocrypha about that Persian kingdom collapsing in the end of the world, man. So the Lord, even in these last days, the Most High is not just going to snap his fingers and you wake up in the kingdom. No, you're going to get the warning from his servants to let you know what the Most High is going to do before it happens. That way, all credit and honor and glory goes to the Most High. That's the part of prophecy that's so important. It's the fact that the glory goes to Yahweh because he foretold it before it happened by means of his messengers. That way you can ascribe glory to some stock or some stone or to some so-called God or man. All honor and glory has to go to the Most High, right? That's the important part of the prophets and the ministry, right? Amos 3:8. The lion hath roared, who will not fear? The Lord God has spoken, who can but prophesy, right? Who can but prophesy? So we have to prophesy, right? We have to speak about what the Most High is doing here in Babylon the Great, right? Let's go to Job real quick. Job chapter 18. We're going to touch on some events that are happening in the earth, right? This is Job. Matter of fact, this is another precept I wanted, Salakia. Let's go to Job 12. Then we'll go to Job 18. This is Job chapter 12 and verse number 13. With him is wisdom and strength. He hath counsel and understanding. Speaking about the Most High. Behold, he breaketh down, and it cannot be built again. He shutteth up a man, and there can be no opening. Right? So the Most High can break your understanding down as an individual. He can break a kingdom's understanding down. He can break an entire empire down. He can break apart their wisdom, their knowledge, their ability to innovate, their ability to come up with ideas to get themselves out of precarious situations. The Most High, once he starts breaking down, no one can build it up again. And that's how you know that there's nothing that these politicians, that these wise men can do to bring back America. Because the Lord has set the society up on a tick of time bomb. Is it not written in Job chapter 14 and 5? That the Lord appointed his bounds that he cannot pass, right? Job chapter 14 and 5. Seeing his days are determined, and the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So the Lord has determined how many days America is going to rule. It doesn't matter if they celebrate their 250th anniversary or their so-called birthday. It doesn't matter about what they say they're going to do in the year 2025. The year 2030, right? The year 3000. The Lord has already determined their days. The Lord has calculated their months. The number of his months are with thee. So his timeline to rule on the earth is preordained by God. And also what? Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So there were certain geographical regions predestined for the so-called white man to take, certain boundaries, certain landmarks. Here's where he can go. Here's where he can't go. Everything has bounds with the Most High. The sea has bounds. The Lord told the proud waves, don't come hither, man. Right? We had bounds. We had certain lands we had from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, and we couldn't pass those bounds. That was the land given to Abraham. When the Lord came down with the chariots, Yahweh Shemi was shining the angels on Mount Sinai, he told Moses, I'm setting a bound across the mountain. If anybody come through these bounds, they're going to get shot or thrust through. You know? So the Lord is big into boundaries. He's big into reserving space and doing everything in order. So America, they're going to have the regions and the lands that they have, but for them to take over Iran, for them to take over Turkey, for them to take over all these lands, the Lord didn't say those things, man. His bounds are already appointed. Job chapter 14 and 6. Turn from him that he may rest till he accomplish as a hireling his day. Right? So separate from the society, man. Separate from this kingdom. Turn away from the so-called white man. Let him do his wickedness. That's what the Most High said. Let him do his confusion. It ain't going to be forever. It's going to be like the days of a hireling. It's a brief time. It's a very brief time for him to rule. And then the Most High is going to lay the hammer down and bring the society down. Right? So this place is through. Right? Let's go to Job 18. And you got Israelites in this truth, man, who can't see it. You got Negroes with fringes on and a border of blue. And some people still don't even believe America's Babylon the Great. All right. Some people think that the Edomites are the Japhites. You know, even some brothers in this truth, I'm gonna just call it what it is. Some people are lost, man. They have no idea what time that we're in. They have no idea what seals we're in. They have no idea what's happening on the earth. They are completely out of tune with the spirit that Yahweh Ba'asham Shah is putting on the earth in the last days. Some people are too caught up in their jobs. Some people are too caught up in their hobbies. They're too caught up in flesh and blood instead of having a mind to be able to watch and see what things are happening around you. And again, we've been doing back-to-back lives on current events and prophecy because there's so much unfolding. If we hold our peace, the stone's going to cry out. That's what Yahweh Shah said, man. You know, if we don't say nothing, the Most High going to put the spirit on something or someone to say something. Remember Mordecai, let me get this real quick. In Esther. I believe that's Esther, the 4th chapter. What did Mordecai tell Esther? This Esther chapter 4 and 14. For if thou, I'm going to start at 13. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews. And he was reminded, just because you the queen of Persia, you got people that wait on you, you eating the best food, you sleeping in this master bed and you doing well off. Don't think that you're going to escape. We are the Jews. And Mordecai had to put that into her mind. And sometimes brothers got to have that in their mind, man. You think you're going to escape, man, because, you make X amount of money, man. You think you're going to escape just because, you know that you're an Israelite? You think you're going to escape for all these lewd reasons, more than all the Jews? When Haman put that hit out, he didn't exclude Esther. That hit out was put out on every Israelite, every Jew. And he said, after they take care of us, don't think that they're not going to come after you. So every Israelite, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'asham Shah, got to have that mind, man. That danger's coming and nobody can escape. Right? Again, your job, your relationships with your boss, your supervisor, how much money you got in your bank account, you can't escape what the Most High is about to do. Now, here's what the Lord also said in Esther 4 and 14. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place, but thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? And this applies to us. This is a beautiful verse. And it's relevant to every man of the Lord in the last days. Because you could be a brother, you have the knowledge and you have the power. Esther had the power to deliver her people. She had the power and the voice to be able to save the Jews from massive and total annihilation. And he told her, if you hold your peace, this applies to you brothers that know these prophecies, that have this knowledge, that know these breakdowns, that know what the Most High is about to do in the earth through the Holy Spirit. If you hold your peace, guess what? The Most High, he said, enlargement and deliverance is going to arise to the Jews from another place. So you hold your peace, the Most High going to put the spirit on somebody else to do this work. He don't need me. He don't need you. The Lord's word is going to go out. He said that in Isaiah 55 and 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish the thing where I sent it, paraphrasing. So the spirit is going to move no matter what flesh is in. The Lord took the spirit from Moses and put it on 70 men, and they prophesied and didn't cease. So deliverance is always going to come, but it don't have to come by you. And that's what he was telling Esther. If you have the power, then say something. If you have the knowledge to save your people, speak up, be vocal. Don't fear what man has going on. Do not hold your peace. But if you do hold your peace, he said, but thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. You see that? You ain't going to make it if you hold your peace. And who knoweth, here's the beautiful part, who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Meaning what? You was born for this. Right? Maybe you were made queen just to be in this position, just to save Israel. Who knows? Your father, your mother, they're not here. The Most High put it on my spirit, this Mordecai, to take care of you. You were selected out of all of the handmaids. You were chosen and got favor before the prince of the master of the eunuchs, and the king brought favor. Why did the Most High have all that play out? That's what he's reminding of, putting things into perspective. And sometimes, brothers, you gotta wake up, man, and stop being so simple, man. You were brought into this truth for a reason. A lot of brothers, you have low self-esteem, your head is down, and why am I here, and what's going on, and what do I do? You were brought into this thing to speak up. Right? Let me get Amos back here. Shalom, King. How about Shemel Shai Barakatah?
Shalom, King. How about Shemel Shai Barakatah? How you feeling?
I'm cool, King. How you holding up? All praise to the Most High.
I'm smooth through the spirit. No need to complain. No need to complain at all.
All praises, man. And kind of just landing a plane on this, and who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? You got to think about that, man. Think about you and all of the things you've been through in your life, ups and downs, what they say, trials and tribulations, encounters, opportunities, the failures that you've experienced, successes that you may have had, people you had to let go. It all came and unfolded for this day right here. For you to be in the truth, you were in Babylon the Great. And I used to think about that in the world. Like, why am I here in I didn't say Babylon, but America, man? I used to think I could have been anywhere and been anything, but why did the Most High, why am I here? And you got to understand that the Most High brought us here to do his will, not to sit on your talents and fold your coins up, your napkins up, your talents, and put in your pocket. Right? So the point is, don't hold your peace, man. When you see these things unfolding, speak up and say something, man. Encourage one another, exhort one another. Share a post. You may not even do a video. You might share a post. You might like something. You might retweet it, man. You might make something your story. You might put a precept to it. You don't have to do a 30-minute lesson, or, we got to push this word. Let me get one more. We got to push this word as this society is going down. And remember, also, when you read the Bible, during times of major apostasy, the prophets always banded together. They always banded together. In the days of Judges, when everybody did what was right in their own mind, in their own eyes, when there was no king in Israel, you had the what? You had the company of prophets. They were together in the days of Samuel, in the days of Saul. When King Ahab, Jezebel was murdering and destroying everybody, you had Obadiah, he was feeding the prophets by 50 in the cave. They was always together. In the days of Elisha, when Israel was completely going the hell off, you had the sons of the prophets. They always banded together. They had their own communities. They had their own centers. They had their own everything. So the prophets were always, in times of danger and trouble, they always banded together. Even when Yahushua, one more point, when Yahushua was crucified, all the apostles was in the upper room together. Right? So these are the days that we're in. Brothers have to band together, do this work, and understand that these are dangerous times. Right? Perilous times. That's 2 Timothy 3:1. Malachi chapter 3:16. Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another. And the Lord hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord and that thought upon his name. And this is the spirit brothers have to communicate, right? In the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, and speak often one to another. And this live, we're speaking one to another. You got people that put stuff on the comment board. We might see it. We might reply. Brothers put precepts, and other brothers on the comment board, they put a precept on there, and we do the live. And this is us coming together, right? And the Lord hearkens, and the book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord and that thought upon his name, right? But you got it, King.
God. You know, all praises to the Most High for being able to witness these times, and that the Most High has given us the spirit to understand, you know, what's going on, what to look for, what not to look for. Right? He separated, you know, the wheat from the tares, the sheep from the goats. And we got to be thankful. We got to be thankful that the Most High has given us the spirit to want to serve him with, like the brother said, these perilous times coming in. Right? Quick precept, Romans 8:31, the classic. Right? With all this that's going on in the world, it's ramping up so quick, it can get overwhelming. Right? Hearts can faint. People can be fearful. But you got to remember, the Most High wouldn't bring you this far to utterly cast you down if you're doing right by the things that the Most High is telling you to do. Right? This is Romans chapter 8:31. What shall we say then? So, like, what shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? Right? Though it may seem like, man, all this stuff is happening and you're still trying to get right. You got bills, you got health infirmities, you got trials and tribulations with your family. If the Most High is for us, who can be against us? Right? We have to let go of all these mortal thoughts, and we should be focusing on the bigger picture at hand. Right? The bigger picture at hand is that our kingdom is coming, and we're going to receive it if we faint not. Right? We have to be good stewards and good servants of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua to reap these benefits. Right? These benefits don't just come because you applied to the job, like your so-called workplace now, where all these businesses have to give health care. Right? You don't get health care because you know the Most High. No, you get the benefits because you're doing what the Most High has told you to do. Right? Let's get Matthew chapter 6 and verse number 19. Right now, we're building up this spiritual storehouse, and our mind frame should be watching to see how much to put away. Right? Any good banker would tell you got bear markets and you got bull markets. Right? Sometimes it'll shoot up, sometimes it won't. Right? Sometimes it'll stay stagnant. So they'll tell you, put your money in here and don't touch it until the third fiscal year. Right? Don't touch it at this time, because you never know what can happen, because this company is supposed to be liquidated to that. Right? You know, I'm not a banker. I'm just, you know, I watch some of these shows, but they tell you where to invest and where not to invest. Right now is the time to invest in doing all the righteous works that you can. Because when that window and door of mercy closes, it's no shoulda, coulda, woulda. I wish I would have went to camp. I wish I would have watched that video. I wish I would have reached back out to that brother who used to call me all the time. Right? You start to isolate yourself, and now you're in that wishing, I wish I could have did that. Right? When now you can't even talk to anybody. You can't even leave from out of your house because they got them UN soldiers walking up and down. They got martial law going down. So make sure you're filling up that spiritual storehouse. Right? This is Matthew chapter 6 and 19. Lay not up for yourselves treasure upon earth. Right? Like the brother was going into. Right? The money and people feeling they're not ready because they don't have $1,000 in their saving account. If I have $1,000, maybe the Lord will save me. No, you can't lay up yourself these treasures upon earth, man. The US dollar is about to crash very, very soon. Right? In the blink of an eye. All that money you done put in, that 30,000 in your 401k, your Roth IRA, that's going to be wiped out. And it's going to be null and void. Right? And to put it into perspective, not to branch off into another subject, we work all these hours, right? 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours a week just to get paid, but we don't get any money. It's just random numbers that show up on your screen saying you have this. Right? You can go to your banking app and it'll tell you got $1,300 in there. Well, where's the money at? Right? This fiscal money is nothing now. Right? It's a facade. Right? It's foolishness if you actually think about it. And it's at the brink of collapsing. Where moth and rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, which neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Right? So where your treasure is where you're going to put your all into. Right? We always go back to sports analogies. Right? You winning that championship at the end of the season goes back to what you were doing in the off season. If your spiritual treasure, or if your heart is in making music for this world, you're gonna put your all into that, and you're gonna stop serving the Lord. Right? You can't have two masters. Right? The master that you are serving should have your heart. And we should be like David, a man after the Most High's own heart. Right? I'm gonna jump down to verse 33, one of my favorite verses. Right now, I'm gonna go to 1 Corinthians 9. Right, this is Matthew chapter 6 and 33. But seek ye first the kingdom of Yahweh and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Right, it goes into in the previous verses, it goes into how the lilies and the grass of the field, they don't worry about water or how they're going to eat. The Most High gives them dew and rain. Right, who close that door for me? Right, he gives them water, he gives them dew, they're able to eat. How much more the servants of the Lord? Right? How much more you, when you was looking for that precept, you turn on the video and it's the first precept that you hear. Right? You're going through something, right? You're going through depression. And you go on YouTube and a brother made a 1 hour lesson and it's stating it, and the title is "This is for you," and you better click on it. And you click on it and you hear all the precepts that you need to build your spirit back up. Right? That's why we have to seek the Most High's righteousness and the kingdom of heaven, man, and everything else will be given to us. Right? And I'm not talking about monetarily. We just read that in the 19th verse, man. We're talking about spiritually. To be spiritually wealthy is much better than being wealthy of this world. Yes, money answers all things, but money can't save your soul. Money can't stop you from being taken and delivered up into these councils. Right? You can't pay your way into heaven. Right? It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. So you should be thinking spiritually in these last days. The more carnally you're thinking, the more carnal actions you're going to get. You're going to find yourself talking more lewd, doing things you ought not to do. Then eventually you're going to turn around, you're going to have a blunt and a cigarette in your hand. Talking about, I'm going to the NBA Youngboy concert. Right, one last precept, then I'm going to pass it. 1 Corinthians 9. I'm going to start at verse number 14. So now is the time to be a steward and a worker of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. That should be your main purpose of working. Right? You shouldn't be putting the work of the Lord to the back burner because you got to serve Esau. Right? Because you got to make sure you're getting paid and this and that. The Lord will provide for you. We're not and don't get me misconstrued. I'm not telling brothers and sisters not to work, but I'm telling you to prioritize the work that you do. Don't go and work for Esau 40 and 50 hours and you can get the Most High 5 hours a week. Right? Yeah, I prayed 2 times over the past week. Whew, so glad to be an Israelite. No, put your heart where your treasure is. Right? Because these jobs will fire you in a second. And they'll bring in the next Joe Schmo and do the same job you're doing. Right? Same thing with this truth. Right? The Most High see the work that you're putting in. If it's not worthy of the standard he requires of you, he gonna bring in the next brother to do the work or the next sister to do the work. Right? This is 1 Corinthians 9 and 14. Even so have the Lord ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel. But I have used none of these things, neither have I written these things that I should be so done unto me. For if it were better for me to die than that any man should make my glory in void. Right? So if you really are about this work, you're going to do the work. Right? You're not going to let the work not be done. You're going to find some type of way to do it. Whether you walking to and fro to the train station and you see a brother and you just talking, or sisters is making videos and posting and talking to others. There's work that can be done. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of. For necessity is laid upon me, right? Necessity is laid upon me, right? Can we look up that word necessity, Bob Kishar? So necessity is laid, something that you truly need, or a situation where something must happen or be done. Something required for life or a specific task, like food, water, or a tool you use every day. So something that is required of life is required of you, right? Unavoidable need, a pressing situation that forces you to act rather than acting by personal choice, right? So it's not really up to you at this point. It's not up to you if you do this work or if you teach the gospel, if you don't teach the gospel. It's not up to you at this point, right? Can we get back to the verse, Bob Kishar? Verse 16, Salaki. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. So woe and destruction unto you if you're watching these prophecies and you're not saying a damn thing. Woe and destruction to you if you see evil that's about to fall upon your people and you're not a true watchman. For if I do this willingly, I have a reward. Right? We was just talking about the reward in the previous verse. Right? Brothers go to work 300 days out the week. And out of those 300 days, they expecting to get a bonus at the end of the year. Right? They want that bonus. Oh, I'm trying to get this $500 bonus. Right? $500, you've been busting your ass all year. And they can take it away from you like that. But if we do this work willingly, right, we have the reward. But if against my will, a disputation of the gospel is committed unto me, right? So if you don't do it, you're just doing it for void, right? It's nothing that's gonna profit you, right? Brother got to call you every damn day to come to camp. Where you at, Ark? What you doing, Ark? We ain't seen you, Ark. What is my reward then? Verily, that when I preach the gospel, I make the gospel of Hamashiach without charge, that I abuse not the power of the gospel. For though I be from Salaki, though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself a servant unto all, that I may gain more. Right? Though we may not physically be in bondage, we're making ourselves a servant to be able to gain more people into this truth. Right, Shalom, King.
Shalom, Kings.
Right, so if you've been in this truth long enough, you see how the truth has grown like a wildfire, and that comes from the men who are laboring on the highways and byways, making their body a living sacrifice, going out every week, no matter the elements, just for Hamashiach's sake. So that's something you got to remember. Stop giving Esau all your time and the Most High a quarter of your time. Right, where your heart is where your treasure is gonna lie. Right, with that, I yield.
Come. You got it, Ron. You got something.
Khan, real quick. All praise to Most High. Shalom, Kings. Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 8. And I start at 18. Right? It says, but thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get woe. Right? So just to land me back on what the brother was just saying, it's of the Most High to give us all the things that we have, man. Food, clothing, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, a job to support ourselves. And a lot of brothers get a lot of that, and then they alleviate and they remove themselves from the spirit, that he may establish his covenant, which he sware unto thy fathers, as it is this day. But it shall be, if thou do at all forget the Lord thy God, right? And that's throughout your day, in the spirit, you're not fasting, you're not praying, you're not watching, right? You can forget the Lord, man. You know, a lot of people forget the Lord in everyday life because they don't give him praise. They don't remember all of the good things he's done. All you remember is the evil that he brought upon you. Satan and his trials and how the Lord didn't deliver you. So, I mean, thinking about the Lord, you understand, and forgetting the Lord, that's something you can't move in, a spirit that can lay on you. And it says, it shall be if thou at all forget the Lord thy God and walk after other gods and serve them and worship them, I testify against you this day that ye shall surely perish. So the Lord is going to destroy everybody that separates themselves from the Lord in the last days, man. You can't separate yourself. If anything, you should be getting stronger and stronger and closer, right? So the Most High is not sitting up there with his hands like a statue. Real quick, I can get Jeremiah chapter 14, right, with his hands open all day, just waiting for you to come unto him. It's not Christianity where they play the organ. You have Sunday to come down the aisle, verse 10. Sunday to come down the aisle, and you taking your sweet time. Right, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 14 and verse 10. Thus saith the Lord unto this people, thus have they loved to wander. Right, and when you wander, you're leaving the place that the Most High set you as a father, a leader, a disciple, an apostle. And our people love the wonder. They love the wonder from His truth, wonder from the Most High. Right, just like a child. Right, you leave a child alone, they're going to be in the backyard out of nowhere. They're going to be in the front yard. They may get lost. We can't move in that type of spirit. We got to follow. It says that they have not refrained their feet. Therefore, the Lord doeth not accept them. So if you wonder, the Lord's not going to accept you. This is not the world where you could do any and everything at any given second. And then the Lord just got his hands open like a statue, man. And a genie and your great grandmother, man, is just waiting for company. The Lord say he will not accept them. It says he will now remember their iniquity and visit their sins. So just keep in mind, man, when you wander from this truth, these videos, fast and praying in your mind, the Lord could depart from you. Brothers, God.
Con, that's right, man. And this is what people are talking about. Now, this is from a little over a month ago. It says total economic collapse is likely in the next decade, says 42% of Americans, right? And the public can feel it, man. The public and the masses, 4 out of every 10 Americans you see, they're going out and saying, yes, America's finished. It says a growing number of Americans are bracing for the worst. A 2026 survey by YouGov found 42% of Americans believe the country will experience a total, not a recession, not a bad month or so. It says a total economic collapse within the next decade, while more than a third think a civil war is likely. These are regular Joe Schmoes, man. Bills and Susies and Brads and people. This is what people at your job are thinking about, man. This is what's in their mind. This is what your so-called boss is thinking about, the CEOs are thinking about. They know. And they can see and feel that this thing is going down. 4 out of every 10 Americans believe that a total economic collapse is happening. Right? It says, let me read a little bit more. That level of pessimism reflects a broader sense that multiple risks, economic, political, and technological, are converging. But what would a total economic collapse actually look like? It says the closest historical comparison is the Great Depression. Yeah, and during the Great Depression, man, people was blowing their brains out. You had Edomites jumping out of buildings, landing head first, right? You had people destroying their own children. You had people eating each other, right? You had all types of spirits going on, man. Looting, robbing. You see some of them pictures, man. Them people were they had demons on them, right? People dressed in trash bags and, long lines to get a job. During the 1930s, U.S. unemployment approached 25%. The stock market lost nearly 90% of its value, and it took decades to recover. Now, once this society go down, there is no recovery. It's not like, okay, well, America, society collapsed or the economy collapsed, and and then they're going to bounce back in the year 2040 and they're going to recover in the year 2050. It's over, right? It's over. It reads, while the economy today is far more resilient, the fear of a severe downturn is not entirely unfounded. So you got to think about this, man. Right? This is what people on the bus are thinking about at the grocery store as they shop and look at them prices. They may not speak to you, but they're thinking about these things, man. People at the bank when you go in and making transactions, and people at the airport when you're flying in and out, or people at your job at the water cooler, and people are a lot more tense. They're on edge, right? They're selling stuff, man. People are trying to make more money on the side. People are beginning to rob and do a lot more that they thought they'll never do, because they know that a total economic collapse is coming. Right? I'm gonna get one quick precept, right, on this, man. Right? They know that a total economic collapse is coming. It's inevitable, right? It's inevitable. I want to read one quick precept. This whole chapter. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna read Ezekiel chapter 27 and verse number 25. You know what? I'm gonna start at 25. Right now, this is talking about Tyre and Zidon, but really in the spirit, it speaks also about how things are going to befall America. Tyre and Zidon was an ancient city or empire that was a economic powerhouse, right? And Ezekiel prophesied their downfall. Now, this same thing that happened to them is going to happen to America. This Ezekiel 27 and 25. The whole chapter is beautiful. I encourage brothers to read it, but I'm going to start there. It reads, the ships of Tarshish did sing of thee in thy market, and thou wast replenished and made very glorious in the midst of the sea. So these are the glory days, right? People sang when they came to America, or to Ellis Island, they were singing, right? Ships that came in, they wanted to do trade with America. Verse 26, thy rowers have brought thee into great waters. The east wind hath broken thee in the midst of the seas. Thy riches and thy fares, thy merchandise, thy mariners and thy pilots, thy caulkers and the occupiers of thy merchandise, and all thy men of war that are in thee, and in all thy company which is in the midst of thee, shall fall into the midst of the seas, and the day of thy ruin. So the Most High is prophesying that all of their riches, their fares, their merchandise, and everybody involved in the economy. What the Lord is prophesying in Ezekiel 27 is a collapse of the supply chain. Your mariners, those are people that work on the boats, the pilots, they navigate the boats, right? The people that occupy the merchandise, that's a supply chain and economic collapse in Ezekiel 27. And that's the same thing that a lot of these people are talking about, huh? Right? So you still got certain people that think that this thing is going to go on for 50 years, when right now in 2026 is 42%. If we're still here in 2027, that number might be 80%, and people are prepared, man. People are getting their lives in order. Now, we prepare, not to be long-winded, by seeking the Most High. That's what brothers are saying. You seek Yahweh Bashmi Awashai. That's the precept Amos brought up. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. So you prepare by calling upon Yahweh Bashmi Awashai and getting your spirit right. Right? Brothers got it. Some more stuff too. We can fly through.
Con. To let me back on that, can we go to Isaiah chapter 10 and verse number 1? And a lot of people, those who are watching and paying attention, they're trying to get themselves ready for the ruin or a recession or whatever may be coming. But a lot of our people don't even care, man. Right? They're caught up in the next phase and trend that's going on TikTok. They wouldn't be able to tell you anything that's going on in geopolitical politics and, anything, right? All I care about is me and mine, right? That's the problem. If you were truly uh, uh, in the care of your people or the people under you, you'll be watching everything. When I came home today, I said it was something in my spirit told me just turn the news on, right? And we turned the news on for a second. We were just looking to see what was going on. That should be your mind frame, right? To know what's going on, right? Not be in the blind, not be foolish, and not know what's happening in your community, in the so-called state you live in Babylon and throughout the world, right? Because Esau is working behind the scenes, overthrowing stuff. You think this economic collapse is by chance? You think it's by chance that all these nations, France, I think Germany may be one of the countries who isn't in debt, but all these other countries ran by Edomites are in economic crisis? No, this is a planned. What's the word I'm looking for? A planned downfall.
Right. Self-destruction.
Self-destruction. Right. It's a planned self-destruction. Right. This is Isaiah chapter 10 and 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. Right? They make unrighteous decrees, man. Right? You got penalties for not paying taxes, but all these billionaires, they get away with not paying taxes. Right? The state of Maryland, it's a thing going on with the electricity. So people are boycotting. What we got is BG&E. All these different states have different electrical grids and names for who they pay the electricity to. Right? They're boycotting BG&E. Right? They're trying to write up laws to say what happens if X amount of people doesn't pay BG&E. How is this going to affect the state of Maryland? Right? People are thinking to overcome because everything is so tight and everything is being written to fatten the pockets of those that are already fat. Right? To turn aside the needy from judgment. Right? It's so much wickedness going on where the needy are being judged and they're not being helped and they're being persecuted. Where I seen a little kid get locked up today on social media because he was selling candy in a parking lot. Right, but Esau kills his family and he gets to stop at McDonald's and get a nice meal and have his picture with his family plastered on the front of USA Daily. Right, and take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, that they may rob the fatherless. And that's what Esau does. Right, Esau doesn't go and attack the men. They attack the most feeble of our people. Right, the fatherless and the widows. And what will ye do in the day of visitation and in the day of desolation, which shall come from far? To whom will ye flee for help? And where will you leave your glory? Right, so on the day of the visitation of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, there's no running that you can do. Right, the affliction that you have done to the children of Israel is coming back upon your head twofold, threefold, 100-fold. Without me, they shall bow down under the prisoners, and they shall fall under the slain. For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out. O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. I will send against him a hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I change him. Will I give him a change to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the streets? Right, so the Most High used the Assyrians to trot us down. It's not actual Assyrians. It's going into actual modern-day Babylon as well. But it's going to be a whole 180. A whole 180 is going to happen. Right, and all the coons of our people want to join hand-to-hand thinking that they're going to be saved. Right, they're going to be able to live luxuriously while we're out here struggling. right, the Most High is going to put it on top of their head 10 times harder as well. Right, there's nowhere you can hide. Right, one more and I'm going to pass it. Howbeit, he meaneth not so, neither does his heart think so, but it is in his heart to destroy and cut off nations, not a few. Right, so Esau is planning on doing this to cut off nations. Right, and this is something I wanted to touch on in a little bit as well to go into that. But you got it, Orion.
You sure, King?
Con, yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
touch on it in a little bit.
I know that. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 24. Right, in verse number 1. Right, you gotta have this in your mind, man. You gotta really think upon these things. While everybody's shooting fireworks, you know, when I walk outside, man, I see fireworks. You know, not too far from my house, it was like 20 Jakes lined up and like 4 police cars, and they trying to flick the police hat, and it's like Jake's so caught up in this world and so caught up in folly that they have no idea what's coming to pass on the earth, man. Right? When I was younger, a lot of brothers, fathers, or mothers, they used to watch CNN. It used to be a big thing. They used to cut the TV on. You go to the kitchen, you see your father or mother watching CNN, and it was this other one, this old school joint. I can't remember it. It was an old school joint with CNN, and it was this old white man. And they used to do like little reports, man. And it was big on knowing what was going on in the earth, man, and knowing what was going on in your neighborhoods. But now everybody's so stuck on social media, the TV, your phone. These are idols, and these idols are set up to overthrow you and keep your mind occupied elsewhere. Right? It's the book Isaiah chapter 24, verse number 1. It says, "Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof." The inhabitants thereof are the people, the elements. Things that were sown in their places are going to be unsown. People that were once in Georgia are going to be in California. California going to be in Mississippi. Things are going to start shifting and moving around. People want to start sojourning. You're going to start visiting family you ain't never visited, right? You go from a SUV to a car to a car to a bike to a bike to the bus. And it's going to start getting very, very hard to survive. People are going to pick up shifts, right? Your woman, if she don't already work, she going to start working. You're going to make your 14-year-old get a job. Everybody going to have to start putting in. It's going to start getting hard. And even on top of that, like in these third world countries and places, it's hard to find work because a lot of people are already working. And the supply for winning these things are running out because they don't have enough money to build and keep the infrastructure of the city going. So whatever is work is work. People are not building and working about different things like they got contracts. Okay, we're going to build on the street for the next 2 years, the next 3 years. Those contracts are going to cease. Work is going to get dried up. And people are going to find it very hard to survive, man. It says, "And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him." Meaning everybody's going to feel it. Doesn't matter your status. If you're a manager or you're a janitor, you're a buyer, you're a seller, you're a maid, you're a gentleman, man. It doesn't matter. Everybody's going to feel the wrath of the Lord once he starts to move the inhabitants of the earth. The land should be utterly empty and utterly spoiled, and the Lord have spoken his word. So when it starts to get empty, right on one fold, that's through the missiles and the bombs, but elsewhere it's going to be empty. These stores are going to be empty, man. The people are going to be empty, and it's going to be extremely hard to figure out what move you're going to make, because the scriptures, they teach you a lot about the spirit, but it's not a lot of precepts or thousands of precepts on getting a job and then what to do with this job. You go to school here. All of that's carnal. You use the world, but you don't abuse this world. It's spiritual that there are more precepts on faith, more precepts on calling upon the name of the Lord, more precepts on coming together than there is precepts on how to better your job, how to advance at your job, how to get a second job, how to get another donkey or another ox, man. Those things are carnal. And when it's all said and done, those things could be removed. They could freeze your bank account, man. You know, who knows? They could look up some type of debt, you know, not that I have any, but they could look up some type of debt from 2003 and bill it to me and wipe my bank account clean, man. You don't know how dirty these people play. You could look at different phone bills. You know, you owe this and you owe that, and they could freeze your money. These people could get real surgical and snatch everything from you, man. They could make it different laws to come out, which are penalties. If you speak this, $2,000 fine, $10,000 fine. You got to be on the lookout for the things that are going to increase in the earth in the last days, how that's going to break you down financially, break you down emotionally, but you're supposed to still have a spirit, man. It says, the earth mourneth and fadeth away. So there you go. There's no Jacob's trouble just in America. The whole earth is going to mourn. So everybody's going to feel it, man. These different policies being made in these world trades that are being formed, everybody's going to take a hit some type of way, whether the dollar, whether gold, whether food, whether imports and ships, and fade away. The world languish and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. I want to get one more precept in the book of Genesis, chapter 12, verse 10. And when there's a famine, people change locations. Right? It's the book of Genesis 12 and 10. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt. So when there's a famine, you tend to do what? You travel, you move, you change where you are so that you can find corn. The same way Jacob did. Same way the 12 did, man. You got to be able to find food, and that change. New job opportunities going to open up, man, for people. Yeah, I ain't making it right here. It's too expensive in Maryland. Thinking about moving to North Carolina, or it's too expensive in New York City. You know, I'm thinking about moving down to Mississippi, and people are going to start making these decisions. It says Abram went down to Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land, meaning he couldn't stay there anymore. And it didn't matter how rich you are, you still have to move where the food is. You have to move where opportunities is. So yeah, city may start to shut down, and the job opportunities you have, they may push you to sojourn. But you got it.
That's right, man. And you know, people are making these tough decisions, man. This is from, what is this from? August 18th, right? 3 alarming predictions with the housing market on pace for its worst year since 2011. Right? It reads, brace for one of the worst years the U.S. housing market has ever seen in over a decade. That's according to Capital Economics, a macroeconomic research firm that says it expects a significant slowdown in the United States housing sector that could last for several years. And again, it's not going to recover. Right? I'm going to get one quick precept just to add to that. A lot of people, man, are waiting for the big bounce back. You know, you're used to the ebbs and flows of prophecy. Sometimes things speed up, and they kind of die back down. Then bomb drop over here, and you're on the edge of your seat. Then things kind of go back down. It's going to get to the point where how about Shmuel Shah has this thing just going full pace, full speed, no slowing down, and no bounce back, man. Right? This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, and verse number 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood? Yeah, I saw this video of this dude from Brazil, man. He climbed down. Brother saw that he climbed down to that zoo.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, this dude, man. This dude was on this damn tree, And he climbed down to the zoo. The scriptures say, may any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood. Once he climbed down out that tree, that lion had his way with him, man. Like the Bible says, they had mastery over them. And he ate that dude alive, man. The people just recording it like it was part of the zoo show, you know. So you can't turn away a hungry lion. You can't turn away the plagues that the Most High is doing on the earth, man. So here they are talking about for several years as if there's a time where it's going to bounce back. When they say that this thing is going to last several years, we interpret that as until Yahushua returns, man. This thing is going to get worse and worse. It reads, this year, annual home sales could slump to around 4.7 million by 2026 end. People can't afford to buy, man. You know, people are trying to sell, they can't sell, so they're renting out their house, but you know, nobody getting it, and they got to pay them fees, and it's a lot of foreclosures going on, man. A lot of bankruptcy going on. The slowest pace of home sales in 2011, the firm wrote in its latest housing market outlook. So everybody's watching this thing go down, man. The housing market is going to crash. Add another one real quick. It said, let me see. I had this through the spirit. This was, I think it was this one right here. We went over that one, Salakia. Another quick one. They say Babylon the Great is in an economic war with Canada as well. And people may not really consider how much Canada does for Babylon the Great, how this is going to affect people's day-to-day life. Now, this says we might be headed for an economic D-Day in North America. D-Day is where they stormed was that Normandy in France in World War II. They called it D-Day, right? And United States and the Allies, they stormed France and they start taking out the Germans, and that was the change of the war. It says Canada could plunge parts of the U.S. into darkness, spike gas prices, and drive up food costs if this turns into a full-blown trade war. We don't need Canada. That's what they said. Couldn't be further from the truth. That's what Trump said. We don't need Canada. Now, this is really a plan like brothers was going into by the elites. You know, they all work on one mind, right? In Nahum, the 3rd chapter, the Lord calls them the shepherds. Thy shepherds slumber, O king of Assyria. So the shepherds are the people that govern the sheep. And the sheeple, they call them sheeple, people who are just follow normalcy and conformity. They just do whatever the government tells them to do, whatever Fox News tells them to do, whatever Donald Trump says they believe. They're called sheeple. And the shepherds are the people governing them to destruction. And Donald Trump is one of those guys. He's one of the top shepherds on the left-hand side. He has no real authority, but he's a shepherd set up by the elites to be the face of America's self-destruction. Right? So 63 of U.S. crude oil imports are going to be affected because Canada gives that. 81% of our imported electricity. A lot of people think you just plug it in and your damn phone charge it to the outlet and it's just always there. No, that stuff is imported, man. They have generators and different devices that supply through power lines and power sources and what they call them, fuel centers. There's another thing I'm thinking of. It'll come to my mind, but they be blowing up these different things that supply electricity to different parts of the United States. You know, so 81%
data centers.
It's a data center too, but it's something else. It's a like a surge. I can't think of it, man, but
power plant.
Not a power plant. It's it's something else. But they got them stationed. It's like this massive electricity headquarters where they bring in the electricity. Now, people don't know that 81% of our electricity that's imported comes from Canada. 79% of imported potash for fertilizer. That means Canada. And again, if your fertilizer prices go up, we know that affects the farms, right? That affects your chickens, that affects your fruit, that affects your cows, that affects everything. That means Canada can hit your lights, your gas tank, and your grocery bill at the same time. Ontario already threatened to cut power to 1.5 million US homes. People think America is this great sovereign kingdom that controls all of its resources and that can operate independently from their partners. And we're finding out that that's not the case. American lifestyle is directly affected by America's relationships with other countries because they rely on them to survive. America is not a kingdom where the labor force is strong to be able to sustain themselves. They got to go from China and get stuff here, then go to Canada and get it from there. Electricity here, gas here, food here. They don't do it here, man. Everybody's damn getting high, on meth, right? In the sports industry, on their phones. These people don't work and do this stuff, man. Now I'm gonna play this quick clip and brothers got it. It's 58 seconds. Right? This thing is getting it's getting out of hand, man. Right? This says again, we might be headed to North America D-Day. I'm gonna play this.
Canada, holding significant leverage, threatens to cut off energy exports. Canada supplies about 60% of the crude oil to US, crucial for states like Michigan and Wisconsin. Ontario alone powers 1.5 million American homes, particularly in Michigan, New York, and Minnesota.
See that? They cut that off. It's old. Your generator ain't going to do nothing about it, man.
If Canada pulls the plug, gas prices could soar by an extra 70 cents per gallon. Moreover, Canada is the leading source of imported electricity into the US, with nearly 33.2 million megawatt hours crossing the border annually. Cutting this supply could plunge parts of the US into darkness, disrupting everyday life from New York to the Midwest. This could lead to economic chaos, with US GDP potentially shrinking by $467 billion and Canada's by $78 billion. Follow for more interesting videos.
You see that? See that? Brothers got it, man. Put the thing into perspective. You got it, King.
God, yeah, that's crazy. It just shows you exactly how Esau's mind is. It's all economic and money driven, man. They don't care about these people, right? They don't care about the next Joe or Susie out here, just trying to provide for their family, right? Let's go to Sirach chapter 10 and start at verse number 7. And before we go there, you mind looking up I don't even know how to type it. It's beef from Argentina.
Oh, yep.
But it got some stuff in it. I forgot what it's called.
I seen that. It's toxic beef.
Yeah, toxic beef from Argentina. Right? So this stuff is getting real out here. Right? There's nowhere you can go. There it is. Chloromophonical incident. Right? I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I saw a video today and they were talking about how bad that is for the body. And there it is right there, the substance. Chloromophonical, if I'm saying that correct. Shoot, that's probably in our food already and we don't even know. Is a powerful broad spectrum antibiotic banned globally for use in food producing animals because it can cause severe human health side effects, including fatal bone marrow suppression and aplastic anemia.
Can I look that up real quick? Fatal bone marrow.
God, these are the things that they're doing. And Trump was in the video talking about Argentinians are dying. They're a poor country, and it's my job to make sure they're okay. But it's like, what are you doing in America? What are you doing for the next good old neighborhood white man? who was a soldier in your army, who's out here begging for food. Right? Esau, they just play this facade as the superhero. But all of this is a planned attack. This is biological warfare. Right? Red blood cells anemia causes extreme fatigue, shortness of breath, dizziness, and heart failure due to low oxygen. So essentially, you eat this ground beef or steaks or whatever it is from Argentina, and I can't remember the amount that they were talking about bringing in. Man, you can have heart failure for low oxygen.
Yeah.
Right? You go to the hospital or you go get checked up. They put that thing on your finger to check the oxygen levels in your body. Right? They put that on, and your oxygen levels is below 15%. And there ain't nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Right? I wanted to. It was an article I wanted to read on it, but we can scroll down. We can just read this.
You gonna find an article?
No, we don't got to do that. But essentially, what's going on is America is buying 30,000 pounds of this frozen beef, and it's going to be distributed throughout all the meat markets throughout the United States. Right, so this is the pestilence that's coming. Right, we don't know where these our actual beef is coming from. Right, you go to the store, you buy a pack of ground beef. You don't know what the farm it was distributed in, the cow that it came from. Right, 30,000 pounds of beef were called. That's not a small number. 30,000 pounds. What's that? 15 tons.
Yeah.
15 tons of ground beef.
Highest risk level.
What does it say?
It says the highest risk level.
Right, is in Florida. Right, can we go to Ezekiel 4:13? Right, you eat this ground beef and have heart failure, man. Right, they're attacking us left and right. Right, this is Ezekiel 4:13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. Right? In ancient times, we had our own cattle. We grew our own vegetables, and we had our own vineyards for fruit. Now we rely on Wegmans. What else? Winn-Dixie's, Giant, Food
Costco.
Lion, Costco, Wise,
Thrifty Scott.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, I ain't heard of that one.
Giant Eagles.
I ain't heard of that one either.
Yeah, BJ's. That's right out there. You know, it's so much we rely on them for just to eat. So we're subject to what they want to put in. Then say, I, Allah God, behold, my soul have not been polluted from my youth, up even till now have I not eaten of that which dieth of itself, or is torn in pieces, neither came there abominable flesh in my mouth. And we can't say that. We don't know the processes of how this food was slaughtered to get brought to your table. Right? Even at these farms that you may go to, you don't know the process of what they're doing. Right? They be molesting these dogs and not dogs, cows and goats and lambs that you eat. Imagine the spirit that's on that meat that you're trying to eat.
Yeah.
I can't remember where that was at, but they had to shut down the plant because the employees was sexually molesting the animals.
Was that the turkeys?
Yeah, I think it was the turkeys.
The butterball turkeys. Yeah, that was popping the turkeys.
Right before so-called Thanksgiving. It's crazy, man. Then he said unto me, lo, I have given thee cow's dung for a man's dung, and thou shalt prepare thy bread therewith. So essentially, the Lord said, you're eating, you know what? And you're going to get filled therewith. And these are the laws that they're passing to make this stuff acceptable. Right? If it wasn't a whistleblower, there's no telling how much of this meat would have been pushed out into the public and people ate. And they're still pushing it out. You think they're going to take this meat back? No, this is a consumer-based society. A consumer-based society. Everything works monetarily. Right? Yeah, I don't know how many people have Costco cards, but if you go to Costco, they do test runs. Right? They'll put products out in the middle of the aisles, right before you go through the aisles, and you look at it, you're like, man, I might buy this. And they dictate how many people buy it if they're gonna bring it back and make sure it's shelved so people can buy it. Pots and pans and knives, lamps. It's a consumer-based society. So everything is ran monetarily. That's the only thing that matters. They don't care about people getting sick. They don't care about people dying. Right? They don't care about people not being able to eat. Those who have it are gonna have it. Right? Let's go to Sirach chapter 10 and verse number 7.
Can I make one quick point?
Kind of.
They even said now that the blueberries, they say blueberries, I don't know if brother saw that, blueberries are now at the risk of giving fatalities. So if you getting these blueberries, let me see.
It's crazy, man. Never seen an attack like this.
Yep. The highest warning category indicating a reasonable probability of serious illness or death, right? So these blueberries and mixed berries in Alabama, Kentucky, North Carolina, people are vomiting, getting diarrhea, fever. 3 to 4 days after eating it, these blueberries are also cutting people out the earth. Just want to bring that out.
Yeah, that's sickening, man. And you know, a lot of babies, that's part of what they eat. They eat blueberries and mashed up foods and things of that nature. This is chemical and biological warfare we dealing with. Right? These people don't care about you. These people don't have your best interests at heart. And we would be fools not to tell you what's going on. Right? We would be downright wicked watchmen to not tell you all the evil that's befallen, because you're not going to see this on, like Araya said, CNN, NBC. They're not talking about this. I was watching the news. They was talking about the Ravens. The Ravens getting ready for their final preseason game. What does that benefit me? That don't benefit me at all. Right? But this is Sirach chapter 10 and verse number 7. It says, pride is hateful before God and man, and doeth both, and by both doeth one commit iniquity. This is a proud nation right here. Right? This nation is so proud that it's willing to destroy the inhabitants just to maintain its status as being, quote unquote, the nation to go to on the earth. The cream of the crop, the pinnacle. Right? Because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Right? There's unrighteous dealings that's going on. You think these people didn't know about this chlorophymical?
Yeah.
Meat, right? And riches got by deceit. It was probably so much cheaper to get it that way than to bail out the farmers, right, who are struggling to keep their farms open. I think when I was watching the video, it said over 16% of the farms in the Midwest have been demolished, right? They're obsolete now. 16% is a lot.
Yeah.
So you have to be watchful, and be mindful of these things. The Most High is having this out so we can know what to avoid, so we can know how to move accordingly. Right? But you got it, right?
That's right. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7. Let's go to the mighty book of Ezekiel, chapter 7, and let's start at verse 12. Right? It says, the time has come, the day draweth near, let not the buyer rejoice. So a lot of times, man, a lot of people in the society, they got things that stopped up for generations to their mind. They got T-shirts, warehouses full of freight. They got all of these different things, and they feel like they're going to fare okay, and they're going to be okay. But, I mean, the Lord is telling you, man, let not the buyer rejoice. The things you've bought for this society, that new house, that new car, those machines for your business, all of this is going to be destroyed, man. All this is going to be stolen. Somebody's always watching you. When you come out the house, somebody's watching you. When you go to work, somebody's watching. When you go to the gas station, somebody's watching you, man. So what's going to come those days, people aren't just going to be watching you, they're going to be stalking you. When you go out, when you come in, they'll kick your door down. It says, nor the seller mourn, for wrath is upon the multitude thereof, for the seller shall not return to that which is sold, man. Right? So you may feel like you're making money now, but I mean, in the day of judgment, in the day of these wars, civil wars, all of these things are going to be lacking. It's going to be missing. And that's okay because you're preparing your mind and your spirit to understand those things, man. I mean, just think about it. Everything that you have in your house right now, if you look around, you can't take that with you, man. Where you going to take it? You're going to waste energy and the muscle mass trying to carry stuff is not going to benefit you, man, on a carnal level. I mean, what could you really take, man? Lord said, come not down from the mountaintop, paraphrasing greatly, man. You got to just immediately be on the run, immediately be on the move. Although they were yet alive, for the vision is touching a whole multitude thereof. So it's not just touching one person, one city. It's touching a whole people, man, at a whole earth. When these things go down, and Canada, if it be the Most High's will, actually separate itself completely from America, all of that is going to touch America, man. Finally, something's going to touch America, and not just one state, man. You know, you got to get tired of something just touching one city, and then it just kind of withdraw. Then it just touch another city. You know, it's going to start touching whole states. Then it's going to start touching the whole country. When these grids go out that affect multiple states, right? I mean, it's going to be total mayhem and blackout, man. You look at movies like The Purge. That's predictive programming. They're letting you know what's going to happen, man. There was actually a purge, and not 24 hours or 12 hours to kill somebody, but actually no police or governments in the streets. Then everybody and anybody is going to do whatever's on the lust of their heart. Remember, in those days, spirits of death and hell are going to be going to and fro throughout the earth. Those spirits don't withdraw themselves. There's just going to be more and more spirits on the earth, more and more war. The love of many is going to wax cold as iniquity increases. So when iniquity starts to increase more and more, what do you think is going to happen to the people? It's going to teach their mind subconsciously on the left-hand side that I got to be tougher. I got to be meaner. I got to be apt. I got to get a bat. I got to get a gun. I got to survive. And in survival mode on the left-hand side of your mind, you'll do any and everything, whether that's kill somebody, run over somebody, defy all laws of this land just to be able to survive, man. It says, whole multitude thereof, which shall not return, neither shall any strengthen himself in the iniquity of his life. So nobody can strengthen yourself. Strengthening yourself is making an opportunity for yourself to be able to survive when the Lord has slammed the door, blocked the path. You can't strengthen up yourself in that day. There's nobody to lean on. So when the Lord shut all these doors, when you read the scriptures, we fled into Egypt. We wanted to rest with the Assyrians, we're the kings. We wanted to do this. We wanted to do that. We always wanted to lean upon the other nations because it seemingly at the time is like the rod of the Most High ain't resting on them. So let me go under their shadow and be under them instead of understanding the judgment thereof, man. The only thing that's going to keep you safe in those days is the spirit that you possess right now, because nobody alive knows the day, the hour, and the time where this is going to happen. All we can do is keep watch to that very moment and that very time. You know, lest, it catch you like a thief in the night and you get overthrown, man. Right? Let's get Revelation chapter 18. Right? And I'm going to start at verse number 21. And that TV show I was talking about was 60 Minutes. I don't know, brothers, remember that old joint. Yeah. This is the book of Revelation chapter 18 and verse 21. It says, and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And the voice of harpers and musicians. So this place spiritually is filled with nothing but mirth. Mirth is nothing but drunkenness and gladness. And that drunkenness is wine, man. The policies and the religion and all of the one mind of everybody indulging in that in the society, man. I mean, you got these Edomite little kids wearing shiesty masks. You got Jake straightening their hair trying to be in college. You got these East Indians wearing suits. You got Jake not knowing who he wants to be. Do I want to be a gangster? Do I want to be a so-called white man? Right? What do I want to be? Everybody's drunk off of all of the music. And one thing about music is it moves you. Brothers touched on this many of times in previous Monday Night Fires. I believe the brother Yardan brought out like a DJ is like a sorcerer, man. And those music, they tell you how to think, what mood to be in. And if it's nothing but harpers and musicians in America, then they're telling you how to act, telling you how to dress, telling you what to think, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, man. You know, what's an abomination in the eyes of America. It's an abomination to go against the decrees, right, that are set up of religion, and for you to go against that. You're looked at sideways. It's like you yanked out the cord when everybody jamming, man, on a spiritual level. You know, they got that Dave Chappelle skit where the man bumped the damn DJ, and then the music stopped, man, and everybody looking around, what the hell is going on? That's you on a spiritual level. You didn't yank the plug out, the music stopped, and everybody in the earth is looking at you. They're gonna want to kill you, man. You the project enemy, number one. Now, we don't possess any ICBM missiles or any weapons. We pose no real threat in the flesh, but in the spirit, you understand, everybody knows through the prophecies that we're going to be hated and we're going to be chased. It says of pipers and trumpeters, meaning all of these different, from different levels. Harpers are a specific musician. Then you got musicians, that's all kinds. Then you got pipers. You got to look at this spiritually, man. From the government, laws being passed, to different spirits of control that are playing a tune to manipulate you, man. Can't just read over this like a Chinese guy or some old guy, or just read real fast to try to get to 24 and say the end and you close the Bible, man. So these are different levels, man. When you look at an orchestra, you got pipes, you got flutes, you got bass drums. You got somebody all the way in the back, man, playing an instrument that you barely hear. And that's how America moves, man. It says, shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be should be found any more in thee. Those are the people that keep the society flowing, your craftsmen, man. That create the infrastructure, the building, the architectural work, man. Everything that's a snare and an idol. You look at the museums, that draws you in. You look at Abraham Memorial, that draws you in. You look at the pencil in the White House. These men that craft all of these different things that are supposed to be set up in their mind for generations and generations. The Lord said, look, all this craftsmen is not talking about a chair and a table in somebody's backyard as they were grilling that's going to be destroyed in the day of judgment. You got to look at how the society is formed. If you ever been in a plane and you see how box cities are in and the craftsmanship on a elite, evil, spiritual level of how it's places you can't even go in the earth unless a road leads there. These are your craftsmen that craft these different things that put the bounds for you not to even be able to travel, man. All that's going to be destroyed. Or whatsoever craft he be shall be found no more in thee, and the sound of a millstone should be heard no more at all in thee, and the light, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of a bridegroom and the bride should be heard no more at all in thee. And all of this is the mirth of the society, right? Everything that keeps you confused, a delusion, right? For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. So America deals with a high level of sorcery, man. But the brothers are bringing it out, man. You know what I mean? And food put a spirit on you. You eat certain things and, you know, you grumpy, you angry. You know, the Lord speak about a very little is sufficient for a man well nourished, man. It's not just talking about you have a small burger and then you have an extra large burger. I mean, if you have vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, you have your nutrients, your herbs, the things that your body isn't lacking. You wouldn't have to consume large portions because you're healthy. And you got to look at how this society feeds you, man. It feeds you a wicked, unbalanced diet. It feeds you nothing but meats, man. Why does the Lord liken spirits like doctrines to meats? Any man on a physical level that eat nothing but meat, what is he going to be? Malnourished. He has no type of green. And we're sheep, man. No life in him. All he eats at the dinner table is wine and meat. That's the sorcery, man. Through all that witchcraft and the things that they feed you, right, to get you drunk and heavy-hearted, right, in this place. It says, and in her was found the blood of prophets, right? So that means on this soil is nothing but the blood of innocents, right, that have been poured out for generation to generation of the saints, and of all that was slain upon the earth, man. So there were many people that were slain upon the earth, man. The saints of the Lord, unjust wars that were wrought on this soil. So the Lord is judging the society and letting you know, right, that all of the things that allure you, keep you confused, and the light thereof that a lot of people floor to is going to be put out. Right? You got it, Ken.
Yeah, that's right, man. I mean, you can see what's going on. The Lord is breaking the society completely apart, man. He's breaking the society completely apart. I want to get this in 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. You know, and the Most High, he puts this things into perspective, man. The Most High is always shaking up the earth so you can understand exactly what spirit, you know, you need to be in. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and 5. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. So the end of the Most High's program in Babylon the Great is going to be through effects and signs. Signs of the economy crashing, signs in the heavens. You even have a blood moon coming up. I believe this, what is that, this Friday, if I'm not mistaken? A total lunar eclipse. Let me see if I can find that. I believe that's this Friday, if I'm not mistaken. The 27th, Thursday to Friday. An exceptionally deep 96% partial lunar eclipse, often called an almost blood moon, will take place overnight Thursday, 27th of August, into Friday, the 28th of August. Right? So the Most High has signs and wonders and endings and effects in the earth, man. You know, and this is going over Babylon the Great. Right? You have eclipses and blood moons and signs of the economy crashing and signs of the stock market crashing and signs of a imminent global world war. These are the effects and signs in the earth. Right? 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and 7. And everyone that shall be saved shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed. And this is simple. This isn't some elaborate, you have to climb a mountain and the Most High requires you to, you know, dive deep into the ocean and then grab this. No. Right? You keep the law, statutes, and the commandments. That's your works. And you have to have faith. You have to believe in the Most High. And these are the times where brothers should be praying for more faith and really examining your level of faith and what you pray for, man. Now, the Most High did say men pray for things that the Lord said, greatly paraphrasing, we don't know what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit maketh intercession in Romans the 8th chapter. So if you're the elect, that Spirit is going to kick in and make intercession for you to give you the things that you need. But you can't sit there and just bank on that. That's not sincere, right? You are praying for worldly things, but the Spirit going to make intercession any damn way. No, that's off, man. Brothers should be praying to increase their hope in the Most High. Because when all this is going, all you're going to have is hope, hoping that the Most High deliver you, hoping that the Most High protect you, hoping that the Most High makes a way for you, man, that you can eat and survive and live. having faith and believing these accounts, man. And that's another thing. Brothers got to make sure they meditate in this word, because wisdom is going to be a defense. And the Most High also said, and let me get this real quick in Isaiah 33. You ain't going to be walking around with no Bible, man, in your hands, right? This got to be in you. Isaiah 33:6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. So the wisdom and knowledge of the Most High, his works, this word is what's going to keep you stable in those times. That's the key to stability in evil days. Applying and meditating on the wisdom and knowledge that the Most High gave us, right? And that's also the strength of your salvation. That's going to be a critical component that you have to apply to receive salvation. It's a big deal. It's a weighty matter. That's what this means. It's the strength of your salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure, right? So you want to make sure that you're building up and his wisdom and knowledge and his hope, because nobody can save you. Man can't save you. You know, that's Deuteronomy 28:29. The Lord said, no man shall buy you, in Deuteronomy 28:68, right? Your money can't save you. Your job can't save you. We can't save you. You can't save you. Only the Most High can save you. But the Most High is going to save you if you believe that he's going to save you. And also if you show the works that show that you believe in the Most High. Right? 2nd Ezra 9:8 shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. So the Lord is going to preserve you during this collapse of America. Did not the Most High say, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry? My servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Right? The Most High has a plethora of prophecies that you got to remember, man. You know, you got to remember and recall these accounts. All right? The Lord, King David said through the Spirit, thy word have I kept hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. This word got to be in you. You got to live this thing, meditate on this thing, and use these precepts as a defense. That's the only thing that's going to help you, huh? That's why the Book of Eli is such a good movie, because it shows how important the word is. And he didn't even need that book when you watch the movie. I believe he memorized the whole Bible. And he sat him down at the end, and this man's in the beginning. And he started breaking it down. You know? And everybody wanted that Bible. Everybody wanted the scriptures. And they couldn't even, it's spiritual, they couldn't even read it. Because it was in Braille.
Braille.
Count the water. It was in Braille. So even if they wanted to get it, they couldn't get it. And he didn't need it. It's so spirit. He was blind, but he could see because he had it in his mind. And everybody was chasing the book. The book. We know Eli in the Hebrew is Allah, which means God. So it's the book of God, the book of the Most High, the scriptures. I might watch that later, man. Get that in the on a damn TV or something, huh? Right? But again, it says shall be preserved from the said perils. So if you want to be preserved from the perils, you got to have that mind to be in this word. Right? Let me get one more, and brothers got it. Made me think of this. I believe that's in John 16. Bear with me, right? This is, let's see. I'm gonna have to find it. Right? I'm gonna have to find it. Oh, here it is, Salakia. This is John chapter 16 and verse 16. A little while, and ye shall not see me. And again, a little while, and ye shall see me, because I go to the Father. Then said some of his disciples among themselves, what is this that he saith unto us? A little while, and ye shall not see me. And again, a little while, and ye shall see me, because I go to the Father. Right? And this is going to happen again, man. Right now we have Yahweh Shai, and we have the word present. But then you have the famine of the word coming. All right. The Most High is going to put us in a box where our faith is going to be tested. Our faith is going to be tried. The Most High is going to be looking at us and seeing what decisions we make based off of our faith and our belief. You know? So a little while, and we're going to be going through it, man. Right? Brothers going to be going through, brothers may be split up from their family, split up from your sons or your daughters, your wife, man. We don't know what our lot is going to be. Right? But we know that while we have the Lord, while we have access to this Bible, while we have access to this knowledge, we have to take advantage of it. You know, because it's not always going to be there, man. So brothers build up. And one more point, the scriptures say faith cometh by hearing and hearing by the word of God. So the more that you in this word, the more you might, you might even have an audio Bible plan. You might listen to the lives. The more you in this word, the more the word is going to be in you. That's how it works. Right. But the further you distance yourself from the word, the decisions you make in the times to come are going to be carnal. They're going to be carnal decisions because carnality is in you. But when you have the spirit in you, your decisions are going to be spiritual for you and your household. So you brothers that find yourself lacking faith at times, the answer is right there. Faith cometh by hearing and hearing by the word of the Most High. Right? Attach yourself more to the word and to this Bible and to these scriptures through reading, the lessons, your notes, the videos, meditation, and that word to be in you, man. But brothers got it.
Quick precept more on the last part you were saying. Can we get Galatians 4:8, but in the NLT? Bob Kishar. And that's wise words right there. Because as we're getting to the pinnacle of Jacob's trouble, all hell breaking loose. I'm gonna read down in the chapter 2. We're prone to try to resort back to things that were comfortable to us, right? Some Jake, when they go through it, they resort back to smoking weed, right? When Jake get lonely, they resort back to talking to those women that comforted them, if you catch what I'm putting down, right? But now is not the time to return back to your vomit. Now is not the time to be weak and to think, like the brother said, carnally, right? Those carnal actions bring forth death, right? The scriptures tell you to be carnally minded, you're an enmity to the Lord. There's no reason for you to want to serve the Most High, but still be thinking with your fleshly heart, right? And the Lord already told you that your heart is deceitful above all things. He gave us a strict way to go and how to avoid the evils to come. Right? But this is Galatians 4:8 in the NLT. Before you Gentiles knew God, you were slaves to so-called gods that do not exist. Right? So before we had the true understanding and knowledge of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, we were slaves unto gods that don't exist. Money, weed, women, music, drugs, all manner of wickedness ruled over top of us. Right? So now that you know God, or should I say now that God knows you, why do you want to go back again and become a slave once more to the weak and useless spiritual principles of this world? So now that the Most High has handpicked you out of the world, why do you want to go back and entertain these things? If you know all this evil that's going to happen, right? That's 2nd Esdras 15. I want to say it's verse number 3. Right, can we get that real quick? I don't want to misquote it.
Which one, King?
2nd Esdras 15 and verse number 3. And we can come back to that. Right, it says, I'm gonna go to 2. And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Right, all the words of these prophecies are faithful and true, and we'll know that they're going to happen. We see them happening before our face. Right, we've already, through the Spirit of the Most High, was able to go back and pinpoint certain historical events that coincide with the scriptures. Right, this is faithful and true. Why would you want to go back and entertain the things of the world that bring no benefit to you or your family or your loved ones? Why would you want to become a servant unto a false idol all over again? Right? Don't resort back into that old man or that old woman where the vomit is desirable to eat again. Right? To Ryan's point, if you just sat and consume meat, right, you're going to be missing out on so many nutrients. Right? It's a garden outside. It's a garden over here. It's watermelon. It's strawberries. It's apples all around you. But you want to eat defiled steak. You're not going to be able to grow. You're not going to be able to sustain yourself for times to come. How much more your spirit if you're entertaining the things that was good to you in the flesh? Right? So all of this is faithful and true. Don't put yourself in a position where you're in a bind. Right? Can we go back to the Galatians, Bob Gashan? Right? You are trying to earn favor with God by observing certain days or months or seasons or years, right? So you went back to doing other things, and now you over here trying to find favor with the Most High by doing numerology, following the horoscope, right? Trying to break down what the Most High is saying using mathematics, right? I fear for you. Perhaps all my hard work with you was for nothing. Dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to live as I do in freedom from these things, for I have become like you Gentiles, free from those laws. Right? So he's pleading that you don't go back to doing the same thing over and over and over. Right? You've already been freed from the shackles of iniquity. Why entertain it more and more? Right? All that is just witchcraft. You caught up in the witchcraft of Babylon. Right? And witchcraft isn't something where it's a lady in a brim hat or a dude with a what's the dude's name from Lord of the Rings? Big tall white dude. Gandalf. Right? All wizards and witches don't look like Gandalf or the witch from Wizard of Oz. Right? They have suits on. They conjure up things by writings. They conjure up things by fear. Right? Let's go to Nahum chapter 3. And start at verse number 4. Don't get caught up in this witchcraft. And to the brother's point, the only way to avoid it is to not drift away from the words of life. Right? Somebody said something years ago. I used to have a picture of it on my phone. It said, the more you sin, I could be misquoting it. Sin will keep you away from this book, or this book will keep you away from sin, right? With something along those lines, right? Your spirit is going to get conflicted and defiled, and you're going to be chopping and cutting yourself. You're not going to want to open the scriptures if you're doing things you ought not to be doing. But if you're looking at the scriptures, reading, like the brother said, meditating, watching videos, talking to brothers, your mind is going to be fixated on the words of the Lord. You're going to be more prone to follow it. Right, but don't let the witchcraft get you, and now you just, damn, you a two-time loser in the streets, but you're holier than thou on the Sabbath. Right, this is Nahum 3 and 4. Because of the multitude of the whoredom of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts, right? And as you being the head of your household, if you're getting sold through witchcraft, how much more your children who aren't built up, right? Following and all this. It's not any better. They got to go back to school and see all this wickedness going on. Home is supposed to be the sanctuary. But if you being defiled and not doing what you ought to do, they have no chance of winning. And they're just going to be carcasses laid out when the Lord returns. Not to be harsh, but that's just what it is. So mind your spirit, mind the way that you're moving, and don't let the ways of this world or the old man get you farther away from the Most High where you're having to double and triple to get back in good graces with your Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Right? You're not King David where you commit iniquity and you don't die. Right? Don't play with your spirit like that. Don't play with the Most High like that, because he's not a man to be mocked. Right? But you got it, King.
Yeah, that made me think of that precept. It was as it was your mind to go astray, so seek the Lord 10 times more. And that's a beautiful precept, but who want to do all of that work, man? When you could just stay with the Lord in the first place. That's 10 more fasts, 10 more prayers. Just like if you about to get cut from a team or something, they be like, all right, look, I need you to go hard. I need you to do this. I need you to stay after practice. I need a lot of people with all that extra work, they quit, man. Like that movie Coach Carter. The Ephraimite.
Timo Cruz.
Yeah. Yeah, man. He want to be a gangster, man. Right? He ain't want to listen, but he had to do all them suicides, man, running up and down the court. All them what he had to do 1,000 push-ups?
It was like 10,000.
Yeah.
10,000.
Hey,
go ahead.
You try to come back to this thing, man. The Lord said, "Go to them that sell and buy for yourself." And all them teammates said, I think they said they did the push-ups with them.
Yeah.
But you brothers ain't going to do that, man. All hell start breaking loose. You try and get back in this thing. You're going to have to go to them that sell and buy for yourself.
Yeah. And that was the definition of a movie. Ain't nobody doing 10,000 push-ups, man. Right? That's just a whole lot of extra work. It's the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 28. For as it was your mind to go astray from God, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. And this precept so spiritual because you could have been astray for, let's say, a year. You know how much knowledge you would have had in a year? So you got to seek the Lord that much more just to catch up or where you should have been, man. Look how spiritual the Most High could have used you, man. So you got to get back to your first estate. And, again, this precept is not a precept. A lot of people may read it or use it. I went off, so now it's time to get right. All praise to the Most High, but you got to really understand 10 is a number of completion. So as you went astray, your mind moving forward is to completely, in totality, seek the Most High forevermore. Because, you may not be able to again. Right? But let me get this precept. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, in verse number 6. Jeremiah chapter 17, in verse number 6. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but he shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in the salt land, and not inhabit it. So if you depart from the Most High and make flesh your arm and do the things of this world, you're going to be like a desert. And what is a desert? It's without water, without life, man. You got creepy, slithering things in the desert, man. Things that hide, scorpions that come up out of the sand, snakes that are in dens, wild coyotes, man. That's not a place you want to dwell at. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, whose hope is the Lord. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters. So spiritually, an individual will be set, and it'll be as if he had living waters running through his whole body, man, from his feet to the sole of his head. And that spreadeth out her roots by the river. So you're going to be fastly set as a foundation, rooted and grounded and built up, like the scripture said in Colossians. Right? You're going to be set down in your place in wisdom, and the Lord is going to give you nutrients, and you shall not see when the heat cometh. Is that literal? No, it's not necessarily literal. It's spiritual, meaning you're not going to feel it, man. That heat could come, but you're not going to be affected by it. Yeah, we're going to all perceive the signs and the times. We're going to understand that the evilness that's approaching on the earth, but it's not going to come nigh unto you. But her leaf shall be green and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, the Lord, search the heart. So the Lord searches the heart, man, just like he did in the wilderness. When you read the book of Hebrews, the 4th chapter, right? Let me get one more, King. Hebrews 4:12. And brothers got it. Just one last precept. It says the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword. A lot of brothers use this, which is a beautiful precept to use, right? To cut, doctrines and different things like that. But the word of God, it says, is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit. This chapter is talking about us being in the wilderness. So when you think you covering yourself through a tabernacle, when you think you're in a tent, the word of God is quick. It's powerful. It's more powerful than you think, man. It's sharper than any two-edged sword, and it's going to divide soul and spirit. Meaning it's going to move your genetic makeup and get to the inward. The same way in the wilderness, you understand? You had all those people murmuring, but could nobody see it really but the Lord, man. Moses didn't have a supersonic ears, man. He wrote down everything everybody said. He had to go to sleep too, man. He had business he had to attend to. He had people he had to talk to. But the same way you cover things up, don't cover up fear in the last days, wickedness, evil, right? Fornication, all manner of drunkenness, man. You're just getting drunk, man. Surfeiting. It says, dividing asunder soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. So the spirit discerns the thoughts and the intent of the heart, man. You could give a gift, but what's the spirit behind that gift? Right? You could read, but what's the spirit behind you reading? You could do a lot of things that may seem a certain way, but what's the intentions? That's what the spirit divides and sees. So in the last days, you want to be rooted, grounded, built up, flourishing with water, and sincere, man. Take these precepts and the wisdom that brothers are giving you and actually apply it. Don't be that brother that lays everything up, and then as soon as it's time for temptation to come, he fails, he falls. Brothers got it.
Con. Yeah, brothers want to bring out closing precepts, we can. But I did want to bring this one quick thing out. I'm gonna just play this one clip, this 44 seconds, and this is this representative of the beast who came out and said, if anybody's helping out Iran, we're going to cut you off from the US dollar system. And a lot of these nations are already leaving the US dollar system, right? So this place is done, right? This is fair use. I'm going to play this 44 seconds.
Teams from Treasury, State, and the U.S. military are now meeting with their global counterparts to tell them that the United States expects action. Every country has a defined timeline to shut down activities we have identified. If they do not take action, we will do so unilaterally through Treasury authorities. For example, every branch of Bank Melay must be shuttered and dark. And let me be clear, any entity that facilitates money laundering on behalf of Iran will be removed from the US dollar system. The clock just started ticking.
See that? And he sound like he don't even believe that. He kind of shaking. I'm not too swayed in this guy, but that's called extortion, right? So this is extortion, deception, blackmail, wickedness. But they're saying, hey, look, because obviously this is over the Strait of Hormuz. It's all planned. But on a carnal level, if China or any other country, France, they decide to do backdoor deals with Iran, America said, we're coming after you, we're going to cut you off. So we'll see, man. We'll see through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemir Shai, what this turns into. But, this thing is going to end up bad for Babylon the Great, man. They're already leaving the dollar. The dollar's trash. It's garbage. They're $40 trillion in debt. But this is a desperate move from a desperate mind, man. Right? A desperate move from a desperate mind through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemir Shai on the earth. But brothers got it.
Kind. All praise to the Most High, man. Let's go to Second Esdras chapter 15 and start at verse 74. So be watchful. Be watchful of all things that are going on. Don't be ignorant of anything, great or small. Use these news outlets while we have the opportunity. Right? Don't just get on Twitter to laugh at jokes. Right? Look at what's going on. Don't just get on Instagram to like pictures of women you shouldn't be liking pictures of.
So,
Just use these resources to your benefit. Right? Be watchful. All right, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse 74. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for Yahweh is your God, and a guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord God. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquity lift up themselves. Right? The days of trouble are already at hand. Right? Stop falling short purposely or willingly. Right? And stop laying down when you fall short. Get up. Right? Fight. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and stop being a pushover, man. Be strong in the strength of the Lord. Woe be unto them that are bound with their sins and covered with their iniquities, like as a field is covered with bushes, and the path thereof covered with thorns that no man may travel through. It is left undressed and is cast into the fire to be consumed therewith. So if your iniquities are stronger than what you can bear, and you don't want to seek help, or you don't want to repent and stop falling and giving yourself over to that madness, you're nothing more than a field that is dressed with dry shrubs, bushes that are flammable. You know more than that. You just fire waiting to be consumed. Right? So stand up, gird your loins, stop doing abominable acts and wickedness, and let's prepare for the kingdom of heaven.
God. Yeah, that's right. Mighty exhortation, man. Yeah, that's what this thing is all about. Getting the hell out of here, man. Not being comfortable here. Let's go to the classic in the book of Revelation, chapter 3. Right? I mean, if you get comfortable here, you ain't never gonna want to leave here, man. You know, you gotta watch that comfortability spirit, man. Things ain't that bad spirit. You know, one precept that always cut me, you know, when the Lord, you know, he coming for those that sigh and cry for all abominations done thereof, man. And I always think about the evil that's being done. And it's not just that it's off, but how is it affecting you? Everything that may not hit you specifically, but how does it affect your spirit that it hits others, man? You know, it may not hit your city right now, but how is it affecting your spirit that it's affecting the next brother? So you should want righteousness like Esdras. You know, he always cried out for the people. Jeremiah. You know, these men actually cared about Israel. They cared. Like the Lord said, a lot of people did not grieve with the affliction of Joseph, man. They don't care. So you want to be able to look at these atrocities in this world news and see how it affects you. You know, it is about preparing, but also, I mean, if you don't care and your spirit not, you know, in tune, then when it hits you, the Lord ain't gonna care about you, man. You know, remember in Matthew the 25th chapter, you know, the Lord asks, you know, hey Lord, when were you in hunger? You know, when were you thirsty? When were you naked? So always keep that in your mind. It's the book of Revelation chapter 3 and verse number 2. Be watchful and strengthen the things which remain that are ready to die, for I have not found thy works perfect before God. Remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come at thee as a thief. Thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. So most are willing brothers continuously fighting, but the brothers are bringing out, not giving up, man, not easily throwing in the towel, man. You got to suffer wounds in this thing, man. I mean, in the army, not to be long-winded, man, it's the spirit. The army, they prepare you for those things. They do drills. You know, all of this is just spiritual warfare right now. You fighting demons. You're getting your house in order. You loving your brother. You casting away grudges. You're leaving every single year. You understand, during the Day of Atonement. You're perfecting yourself until the day of the Lord. Most High willing, man, all of that's not in vain. You continue to hold fast, man. The Lord told you to hold fast. It says, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. So most High willing, man, brothers, continue to stay strong. All praise to the Most High.
God, that's right. That's right. Let's go to the classic. in the book of Revelation, chapter 22 and 12. It reads, "And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according as his work shall be." And in these days, like these days are short, man. Right? It's almost damn September. Where did August go, man? Time is flying. Time is flying. The days are going by fast. You're waking up, you do what you got to do. And by the time it's all said and done, the day's over, man. Months are flying by, weeks are flying by. The sun is accelerating its course, it seems like. And prophecies are unfolding quickly now, man. Things are happening fast. Things are moving. Economies are being shaken up. And we know that Yahweh Shah comes quickly, man. There are more blood moons in a short period of time than ever before. More eclipses in a short time than ever before. The Most High really has his pulse on these signs and effects in the earth. There are earthquakes, man, more than ever before. So we see through the spirit that Yahweh Shah is coming quickly. And when he comes, he's not coming empty-handed. There's a reward for endurance, not for giving up, not for running half the race, not for running the race with deceit, right? Not running the race full speed, then burning out, but for finishing this thing, finishing this race. You want to finish this race strong. You don't want to finish this race running out of gas, man. You got people that run marathons and they run a good amount of the race. Then they get to 10 feet from the finish line and they start slowing down, right? They went through everything else. And then they start slowing down and get past, man. Some of these people pass out right before the finish line. And the people come with the stretcher and take them to God knows where. So there's a reward for finishing strong. Not just finishing. They tell you even in track and field, run through the finish line. When we played football back in the day, you have to run back and forth across the field. You have to run through the goal line. And hooping, you got to finish hard at the rim. Right? It's not just finishing, it's finishing with tenacity, man, with power and with strength. Not just finishing, and you damn near, half-stepping it. So there's a reward for finishing and finishing strong. And it's to give every man according as his work shall be. So with that, we're going to close up, giving our honor and glory to Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, oh,